All right, the witness has been resworn at this point. Detective Hermosillo, I'll ask a few questions before we commence with your direct examination by Mr. Wood. Since this case has been going and you last testified, have you in any way observed any of the trial testimony?
No, Your Honor.
All right, have you talked to anybody else about the testimony they've given during trial? Okay, thank you for confirming that. Mr. Wood, if you'd like to inquire on direct, you may.
Thank you. Good morning, Detective.
Morning.
You've already testified, but if you can just briefly remind the jury what you do for a living in Rexburg.
I'm a lieutenant over detectives in Rexburg Police Department.
And were you involved in the search for Tyler Ryan and JJ Vallow?
Yes, I was.
Detective, do you recall approximately when Lori Vallow was arrested?
February 20th of 2020.
And do you know where what jail she was eventually held in?
Eventually in Madison County Jail.
Are you aware if the Madison County Jail has a phone system for people who are in the jail to speak with friends and family?
Yes, they do.
Right. What is that system called?
It's called Intelmate.
Do you have access to Intelmate?
We do.
How do you access Intelmate?
Through the police department, they give us a username and password. And so we log on and we're able to listen to phone calls from inmates.
And so those phone calls are recorded.
They are.
Do you have any ability to alter or change those recordings with your login information?
No, we don't.
As part of your investigation into searching for JJ Vallow and Tyler Ryan, did you listen to jail phone calls between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell?
I did.
Why were you doing that?
At that point, we still had two missing children. So every day we listened to phone calls between Chad and Lori, and there were multiple phone calls. But we were trying to get any information to the whereabouts of JJ and Tylee at that time.
How often would they speak with each other?
Maybe 10 or 12 times a day.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be handed what's been marked as State's Exhibit 392. Counsel has been given a copy already, and I have a courtesy copy for Detective. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 392?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
A thumb drive that I listen to recordings on. Listen. Yes, ma'am.
Are your initials on that?
No, not on this one.
I might have the actual exhibit, then I'll trade for the courtesy copy, please. Thank you, Mr. Bailiff.
Are there initials on that exhibit?
Yes, they are.
So you have reviewed the contents of that specific exhibit?
Yes.
As part of your investigation, did you ever listen to a jail phone call recorded on June 8th, 2020 at 9:16?
Yes, I did.
Is that what's contained on that exhibit?
Yes, it is.
Is that a true and accurate representation of the jail phone call you listened to?
It is, yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 392 be entered into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
All right, exhibit 392 is admitted.
Detective, I believe you testified you'd listened to many jail phone calls, correct?
Correct.
Just briefly, is there a reason why this jail phone call stuck out to you?
Yes. The content in which you're about to hear, what they were talking about and who they were referencing stuck out to us, yes.
And we spoke about that this jail phone call was recorded on June 8th of 2020. Do you recall an event that took place on June 9th of 2020?
Yes.
What happened that day?
That was when we served the search warrant on the Daybell property and found Tylee and JJ.
And so did you listen to this June 8th recording before or after June 9th?
It was after June 9th.
And Your Honor, if I may publish by HDMI?
You may.
And Judge, for purposes, I'm going to ask that the entire audio recording be published.
You intend to publish the whole call, Mr. Wood, or an excerpt?
Your Honor, I intended to start the call in at about 6 minutes. I think if Mr. Pryor wants to play the rest during cross, he's certainly welcome to.
Yeah, I would agree. You can publish an excerpt if you'd like, and the entire call has been admitted. And if you wish to play other sections not played by the prosecution, you can do that on cross.
And for the record, Your Honor, I am going to start at 6:10. Or 6:04. So that's where it's going to let me start.
Visions under pillars of fire. That's what you were reading to me.
Yeah.
Because at the very beginning,
If I can inquire, is that coming through the,
No, it's not.
says, this was all still before the second coming. The Lord had ordained for us to begin the millennial day within Zion and her cities, while war and chaos reigned everywhere else. So it was already like the millennium. They were already living millennial way
Like a pocket, yeah.
the whole time.
That's kind of how I've seen it, as begins with a family, then a neighborhood, then a town, then a city. And New Jerusalem's kind of the best example of that.
Right.
Yeah, it starts small, but grows exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's will, and they're doing all they can to destroy one of the key families, but they're not going to.
I mean, there's so much that I know. I was sitting here thinking about that. I know too much.
Yes.
I can't deny it. I know it's just a matter of time. Just don't know what that timing is.
So I texted Ray. He responded pretty quick.
Detective, I'm going to pause it there. Did you hear Mr. Daybell say I texted Ray?
I did.
It's because my microphone wasn't up here. Yes, I can. Did you hear Mr. Daybell say that he texted Ray?
Yes, I did.
Through your investigation, did you become aware of any individual that had a nickname or alias of Ray?
Through our investigation, we learned that Alex Cox often went by Ray Lamar. We also associated a Gmail account through phone records back to Alex Cox, and that Gmail was raylamar@gmail.com.
Now, what was the date of this phone call again?
June 8th of 2020.
And was Alex Cox alive or dead at this time?
No, he was deceased.
Do you recall when he died?
December 12th of 2019.
Detective, through your investigation, did you find any information that Chad Daybell claimed to have the ability to speak with people who were deceased?
Judge, I'm going to object relevance.
Overruled.
Through our investigation, interviews with multiple witnesses that were close to him, through the teachings in his books, he would often talk about how he had the ability to see and speak with people on the other side of the veil.
And Your Honor, I'm going to resume playing at 7:34.
All right, before you do that, Mr. Wood, I think we might be able to assist on the audio.
Your Honor, I'm going to start playing at 7:34, and if the court can let me know if it's coming through the speakers.
All right, thank you.
Oh, that's good. Usually it's hard to get a hold of him. He's busy
Okay.
days.
Yes. But I asked him what we'd talked about. And he's very optimistic.
It was very optimistic for you, or he's very optimistic it could happen.
He's very optimistic for both of us.
He doesn't know his own project timeline.
He said, stick with it. To what he projected in that paper he wrote.
You know, house renovations always take longer than they think.
That's the problem.
I've been watching that Extreme Pools,
Uh-huh.
and the people are like 3 months out. Like,
I mean,
when they estimated they'd have it done, and then they're like, we had so many problems, we couldn't get to the backyard, we had to pull a crane over the house to get these huge rocks for the waterfall.
I can remember last summer, Taylor Hill, Mark's friend, parents moved into a trailer, like a camping trailer, in their driveway because they were going to build their house by the end of the year. Guess where they're still at?
Really?
They sold their house to their son. And it's just a weird situation, but you're exactly right. Yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah, there's always something comes up. Well, we didn't know when we dug in your backyard, we were gonna find whatever. And then they're like, we have to redo all the piping, and then we had trouble with this, and then something else happened. And so, but they try to make it sound like it wasn't really that long, but it's always like, it's gonna take 3 months. And then 3 months after that, they're like, okay, it took 6 months. You couldn't come in your backyard at all. And now it's not summer anymore. Now it's winter and your pool is finally done.
Right.
Mostly they do it in Florida, places like that. But. So he's optimistic about his construction problem, or construction
Problems.
not problems, but plan. His
Yeah.
construction plan, the blueprints are still intact.
Yes.
Their timing.
And I kind of just said, I texted him what you just said is, you guys are always a little off.
Right, exactly. We just want a real estimate.
Right.
What do you say?
He just laughed.
So he did not confirm nor deny that fact. That contractors are always later than they think they're gonna be.
He's like, it'll work out, how he is. He did want me to say he misses you. But he's not far from, contact. We can talk. We can text him whenever he wants.
Yeah, I can't text anybody. Have text.
It was,
Just text for me. That's like me telling you, I need you to tell this person and talk to this person.
I'll text him back. But he's optimistic. I want to go visit him and grab him by the throat and say, really?
Can he? I know he's optimistic, but can he just make us any guarantees? I mean, we did make our down payments and everything else.
Guarantee.
It was like a guarantee, just an end date of our project.
Well, he knows you pretty well. So he just laughs. No, I asked him what he thought of the video project. He said it was really nice. He loved it.
Oh, good.
Detective, through your investigation, were you aware of any type of video put out about Alex Cox around this time?
not around June 8th. But shortly after Alex Cox died, his sister Summer Shiflett made a YouTube video with clips of Alex, photos throughout his life, and put it to music. And so we viewed that early on in the investigation, but that's what is being referred to here.
Judge, I'm going to object. That calls for speculation. He can't speculate is what it calls for.
Untimely, overruled.
And Judge, I had stopped playing at 12:13. I'm gonna recommence playing at 12:13.
You may.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Although I'd never heard that song before. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just something on like iMovie or something that's on your phone.
Exactly, yeah.
Like one of the backgrounds that you can
Church
use or something.
found just a happy one, yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't know, because I've never even heard that one, or I've never seen the app, but I know people can do that. iMovie, it was always on my iPhone. I just didn't ever click on it.
Yeah. The
So,
frustratingly optimistic, I guess is.
so frustrating for us. that
Yeah,
we're gonna be
that's what I
completed.
mean.
Thanks for completing your project on time. Will they get a bonus? They do it.
Oh, yeah, we'll give him a bonus. It was good. It was good to talk. You know, I hadn't texted him in a while. So,
So he would still answer all my questions in the same way, you think, if I texted him?
I think you ought to write down some questions for him and maybe even mail them off and see what happens. See if he'll respond to you. I have no doubt. Don't forget President Holland's talk. That snippet. He seemed like he wants to text you if he could. Yeah, it's all true. That's all I can say. They haven't forgotten.
I know they want to work on their project and they're not too happy and busy. You know, that's how I spelled it out. Oh, just like, I'm busy.
Well, the truth
I'm
is that.
good. It's good. It's good. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's still very interested. He hasn't like forgotten about us.
I know he has other projects, so I don't know how much time that takes. but
He's involved in this latest batch.
Wow. Remind him when you do text him back that at the beginning of this project, he said there was only like a 3% chance that there would be trouble from certain aspects. And that seems like 100% trouble because that's where it all started. So find out about that.
Right.
See what he has to say for himself on that issue. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Recall what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Judge, I'm going to stop at 16:35. Detective, who is asking who to obtain information in that snippet we just heard?
Lori was asking Chad for information.
Your Honor, I'm going to continue playing at 16:35.
You may.
So I want to know why that is 100% instead of 3% chance of having a problem.
I think he was somewhat right in that. The other aspect were other people. It was a combination.
I know it was a combination. I'm saying there were other problems, obviously, of the location. But what I'm saying is that it's a combination of only, 5 problems.
I agree.
That was a big one.
It was a big one. Uh-huh.
So my faith in those kinds of guarantees are lower.
Me too.
And beggars can't be choosers, I get that, but you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It's not like I get to pick the colors of everything that I want. He's just gonna have to figure it out.
Right.
Since I'm here and I can't be in charge of the project. So
Mhm. Yeah. I've thought back on that entire scenario.
we went over the plan and the blueprint
Mm-hmm.
and
And yeah, he said that wouldn't be a problem.
right.
Hmm. Yeah.
What's your take on that? Why was that?
It really was.
Right.
No, I don't doubt that. It's just strange how it blossomed. So
So go ahead.
you go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, so you think it was meant to have complications and meant to go that direction?
At some point, yeah.
Well, then you should have said, hey, this is a 99% chance that we're gonna have trouble with this soil,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's all we were asking.
Well,
Could this potentially be good, or do we have to fill it with sand?
I think we sensed that we shouldn't take it lightly, and I don't think we did. I mean, we only discussed the matter with the trouble once, and I thought we cut it off and did well, and now that problem is kind of causing its own trouble for itself.
Right. But there's other things in the project where when I'm going back over it, right, that I could have easily done or been inspired to do to avoid a lot of the issues that are gonna come up with that.
Yeah.
That we weren't made aware of, so You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So it was meant to go this way, you think, is what I'm saying.
I do. It's terrible. Minor changes here and there, but overall, this was part of the blueprint. I mean, just
What?
I just wish it hadn't been. But I'm thinking of previous blueprints where the people weren't warned either. It's maddening. Ray's in that contractor position for a reason, and he's not gonna drop us for another project.
Well, can't he like forcibly use a hand, punch some people in the face and get some things done? Some people in particular, like the 3%er person?
I don't think he wants to be violent, but Mhm.
Well, I'm not saying be violent, I'm saying get their attention.
Me too. What he did was kind of mute her effect. The I don't know, just kind of kept her in her place for quite a while, to the point it almost diffused any value of her.
Not talking about that. In the beginnings, going back over the whole blueprint and all the things that we've been, I don't know what the word is, when you go through it. Anyway, a lot of that stuff could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Just minor tweaks.
Yes.
And I don't know why it had to go down this road to where we are now in the project.
Mm-hmm. I know. I don't fully understand. I think he'd text you back or write you back.
Ultimately, what I need from you is that the project is going to be finished and everything is going to be fine and it's going to work out.
That's what he said.
Well, I need you to tell me that every day, several times.
Okay. My sweet, lovely Lolo. Things are going to work out. Not just because he says so, but because I know so. It's a marvelous plan. Slight
How do you know
hiccup.
so?
How do I know? been shown to me, honey. I've seen those beautiful eyes filled with tears as she sings to amazing groups of people. And I've seen that wonderful body dance to heavenly songs.
Your Honor, I'm stopping at 2641. Detective, in that conversation, who is asking who for assurances?
Lori was asking Chad, and we found that throughout multiple phone calls. She would ask Chad for assurance.
And who said they had seen the plan?
The defendant, Chad Daybell.
Your Honor, I'm starting again at 2641.
Your purpose is only beginning, it's hardly begun. And it will be the pair, it won't be solo. And it's going to be incredible.
Be cholo and not solo.
That's right. Yep. It will be the Eurythmics. No solo careers. I'm just absolutely sure. I was saying it will be the Eurythmics. It won't be two solo careers.
I know, but I'm saying, you said you have absolute what? Confidence?
Absolute assurity, confidence, confirmation. It's going to be as seen. There's some things that aren't going to be altered. Your value is tremendous, immense, and needed in every way. You're tremendous, my love. I know that is a fact. I think you underestimate yourself. I'm not trying to give you a big head or ego because you don't have one. You just are spectacular, and the Lord is going to use those talents. You're on earth at this time for that purpose. I'll try to call you back so we can pray. Okay.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
All right. Council, before we begin cross here, I think this would be an appropriate time to take our mid-morning recess. So let's go ahead and do that. It's right at 10 o'clock. So if we could start up again, we'll try for 10:25 to be back with cross-examination starting.
I'm going to play this real quick. So I found in this video where they say this.
I'm sure kind of difficult knowing like they're asking me for information that's going to help them in a case against your sister. But I guess the thing I want you to know is our whole goal is just justice for these kids, you know, and we, I mean, our hope as it comes to it, your sister's actually made some overtures. She might be willing to talk to us.
I hope she does. I pray for that all the time.
We hope she does.
Yeah.
She actually was talking with Chad about talking to us before we found the bodies, just a few days before, and he talked her out of it, which is too bad. It would have been better for her to tell us.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we were actually just finishing up our warrant on the day that she said that. We were just getting ready to go out there, but it would have been, you know, that would have been even better, and he talked her out of it.
Yeah.
And then the night before, she says to him again, like, hey, what do you think about, you know, and he uses this kind of, I call it spiritual abuse, spiritual manipulation.
Yeah.
You know, we've all seen that guy in the LDS religion whose wife has to obey him because he has the priesthood type thing. And that's not what he says, but it's the same type of thing. Well, I'm the visionary guy. So, you know, So anyway, again, I just wanted to meet with you real quick, introduce myself and Mackenzie.
I want to obviously seen you.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
But I don't take any joy in doing anything that's going to harm her. I don't take joy in her spending her life in prison. There's nothing.
Okay, so y'all caught it.
Good morning, Officer Hermosillo.
Good morning.
Now, you had an opportunity to listen to the tape and you offered some commentary on that. Do you have a recollection of information that Mr. Daybell felt that there needed to be building a village for the end of times?
No, I don't recall a village. I recall putting up tents, but not a village.
Okay. And the construction of a safe place when the second coming occurs, is that what you recall as well?
No.
Okay. And that there were some discussions about people moving to Rexburg to be safe from, again, the second coming. Do you recall that?
That I do, yes.
Okay. And on the tape, I heard, I believe it was Miss Vallow saying something about, I don't get to pick the colors of what I want. Do you recall hearing that?
Yes.
Okay. And would that suggest to you that they're talking about building buildings?
No.
Does anything in this discussion resemble the construction of any sort of structure?
Repeat the question again, please.
Does any of the discussion on the tape seem to suggest that they're contemplating the construction of some sort of a structure?
No.
So the discussion about blueprints and picking colors has nothing to do with the building of anything. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm suggesting.
Okay. And at this point, this tape again was at what time? The date?
June 8th, 2020 at 9:16 p.m.
And at this point, there's just, you would agree that there's a discussion about future plans, correct?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. And at this point on June 8th of 2020, was Tammy Daybell dead?
She was.
Okay. JJ Vallow, to your knowledge,
Yes.
already passed away?
Yes.
Kylie Ryan?
Yep.
Okay. Alex Cox?
Yes.
Okay. So there wasn't, from your knowledge of this, some nefarious plan to kill or murder anybody, was it?
It was in furtherance of the plan through our investigation to lead the 144,000 or whatever it was
Okay.
that they wanted to do in the future.
Okay. And I guess those 144,000 were going to live in tents?
I have no idea where they were going to live.
Okay. So we're not disputing that there was some plan to have some sort of a refuge in the future in Rexburg, right?
I can't testify to what Mr. Daybell was going to do in the future.
Okay. You seem to be testifying of what you thought he was talking about on this tape, though. How is that different, sir?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
Now, Judge, I'm moving for admission of Defense Exhibit 104 and 105. And Judge, for the record, yeah. And these had previously been provided to the state. Judge, I also took the liberty of printing off photos, provided those to the state earlier, as well as to Officer Hermosillo to identify those. And my understanding is the state's going to stipulate to the admission of 104 and 105.
Mr. Wood.
Yes, based on our conversation earlier, I'd also note that this is testimony beyond the scope of what was discussed earlier, but as an agreement with Mr. Pryor, we're going to allow that to happen today.
Okay, so I'll allow redirect on that and expanded scope as well. I wanted to also be clear from a note I had from the exhibit clerk. 104, is 104 a separate exhibit and then there's 104A through J, or is 104 the 104A through J?
104 is the exhibit of all of the pictures. 104A through J represent individual pictures within 104. that I was going to emphasize,
Okay.
and I can modify that if that's the court's direction.
I just want to make clear what's being admitted. So right now, we just have 104 and 105 offered and admitted. If you go to any of those particular sub exhibits, or we'll mark those and make sure the record's clear.
Okay. Okay. And Judge, I may need my computer if that's the route we're going to go. May I have permission?
If you're going to publish those and need your computer, you can go get it.
Thank you. Or if the court would not have an objection and the state doesn't have an objection, I can use the pictures as well for Elmo if the court has a preference.
Either way you wish to publish this, but if we're publishing the individuals, we'll just make sure we're in the record what's being published.
Okay. All right. May I approach for my computer, Judge?
Yes.
Judge, may I publish the jury by way of HDMI?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, officer, as part of a search of the Lori Vallow, Alex Cox apartments and garages, there was a search that was conducted on December 19th, 2019. Do you recall that?
I do.
And at that time, my recollection is the testimony is that Alex Cox's garage was vacated. Is that right?
The apartment we believed Alex was living in, which is 107, was completely vacant. His belongings were found in 175.
Okay. And then the garage of Alex Cox as well, was that vacant?
The garage of 107 was vacant, yes.
And then there was a subsequent search and you previously talked about some weapons that were found as a result in 175. Is that, would you recall?
That's correct.
Okay, but there were other items that were discovered, and this is by way of stipulation of the parties. And do you recognize this picture?
I do.
Okay, and can you describe on the, and if you could get the marker out, I would appreciate it. And go to the top right corner of that exhibit.
Okay.
Right there, and it looks to me, what does that look to you that those three rolls are?
Duct tape.
Okay, and then to the left on the top upper right-hand side? Are you able to identify what those are?
It looks like a fire starter, lighter maybe.
Okay, and then in the middle, there are some canisters. Can you tell me what those might be?
Right here.
Yes.
I can't tell exactly what it is, but it looks like maybe something to clean guns with.
Okay, okay. And Judge, this is going to be a little onerous, so I'm going to have to do this a little bit at a time if I could. And then if we could publish again, Judge.
You may.
And then a little bit of a closer look. Again, obviously, with the scripto, it looks like one says, do you see what those are?
Yes.
What are those?
Torch flame is what it says.
Okay, and then the bottle, the cans is a closer look. What would those be?
Still can't tell.
Okay. In any event, these were items that were found in Lori Vallow's garage. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if those were cans to clean guns, there were also guns found that were identified as being belonging to Alex Cox, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And again, Judge, we're going to try to publish. And again, what are we looking at here?
It looks like a knife.
And
Some
on the bottom
tools.
left, do you see what that might be?
It looks like a saw.
Okay, and then do you know what a Dremel is?
Yes.
What's a Dremel?
Tool to drill out certain things.
Okay. And Judge, again, we'll unpublish this. And then we'll publish, Judge. Okay, now, in this particular picture, would you agree we're looking at some other tools as well?
Correct.
And then in the middle there is a tarp. You see that?
I do.
Okay. And then we're looking here at, there was a bucket found. Correct? You see that?
I do.
various gloves.
Correct.
And these were pictures taken by law enforcement. Do you recall that?
I do.
Other than the bucket and the gloves, do you see anything of significance that might be in this picture relevant to this case?
No.
Okay. And again, this picture taken by law enforcement, what does that appear to be?
Tarp.
Okay. Do you have an independent recollection of how many tarps were found in Alex Cox's garage?
I don't know.
Okay. Would it be fair to say there were several?
I don't know how many were found in the
Okay.
garage.
More than a couple though, right?
Sir, I don't know how many were found in the garage.
Okay. And Judge, if I could just have a moment. Oops. Judge, it might be easier if I could use the Elmo as opposed to trying to, for some reason, I can't get this picture to come up. With the court's permission, could I use the Elmo?
You may.
And again, do you recall or recognize this picture as well?
I do.
Okay. And various chemicals. Do you see anything that resembles anything like cement in there?
Not that I can see.
Okay. What do you see here?
Plastic tub with black plastic.
Plastic and white plastic as well
Um,
in the upper
yeah,
left
it looks like white plastic.
that were found in Lori Vallow's garage. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then what do you see here?
Appears to be bolt cutters.
Okay. And then I'm looking down at the bottom of this picture and it's on a green bag. Can you make out the green writing that's on that bag?
Looks, I can see maybe a CRETE, so I'd assume some type of concrete.
Okay. And various other chemicals within this picture as well. And these were found within Alex Cox's.
Objection, counsel's testifying about chemicals. Move to strike.
Abstain.
Do you see any other buckets of any various sorts?
I see buckets. I don't know if they're full or empty.
Okay, several buckets in the previous pictures as well. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay. And Judge, I'm done with the Elmo. Thank you for the consideration.
All right.
And in addition, there were, I'll wait for you, officer.
Oh, you can go continue.
In addition, there were numerous guns and ammunition as well found in there, correct?
Correct.
And those were all identified as belonging to Alex Cox?
That's who we assume they belong to, is Alex, yes.
And a significant number of knives, weapons, guns that were found in that garage. Would that be fair?
That's fair.
Did you happen to determine when and where all of those knives and guns had been purchased?
I personally did not.
Do you know if anybody did?
I assume they did.
Okay, but you don't know.
I don't know for sure.
Okay. So we have no determination as to when these purchases may have taken place. They could have taken place in Arizona, correct?
They could have, yes.
They could have taken place here as well, correct?
Correct.
And if they took place here, you folks had access, at least one of your witnesses had access to Sportsman's Warehouse, so they might have been able to confirm that, right?
That's correct.
Judge, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Wood, redirect.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
All right, then that will conclude the testimony of this witness, Detective Hermosillo. Yeah, state's indicated their
I'm so sorry.
policy right now with law enforcement, but is he going to remain under subpoena for purposes of the exclusionary order?
Your Honor, the state would be releasing Mr. Detective Hermosillo from a subpoena.
All right, and Mr. Pryor from the defense?
And Judge Officer Hermosillo was under subpoena from my office, and I'm releasing him from calling him back in this particular case. We accommodated that with the state allowing me to go into things beyond direct to allow us to have Officer Hermosillo not have to come back.
Okay, well, Officer Hermosillo, sounds like your part in this trial as a witness is concluded, so the exclusionary order would no longer apply. You could watch the trial if you wanted to. It's up to you. Thank you for your testimony.